Hey guys! Well, I hope everyone's having a great weekend so far. And I just want to let you know that we just uploaded the third video on the second interview that we're covering. We're just walking through the interviews slowly but surely. You know what? I want to tell you something about that third video on the second interview. We touched on the issue again, of course. Seems to be one of the core issues of the case of the nut meltdown. And as I was doing the video, I was actually thinking about how odd it was that nobody freaked out when the children who were seated at the table, safely eating ice cream, a safe distance away from the, severely anaphylactic and deathly allergic children, to anything peanuts or that exists in the world of any peanuts or tree nuts or kiwi or chocolate or eggs, right? Well, as I was doing the video, it's like, well, hey, wait a minute here. Christopher Watt's wife had a major meltdown, came, quote, charging down the hallway toward her mother-in-law, yelling and accusing her mother-in-law of attempting to murder one of the girls. Because remember, there were children seated at the table with little cups of ice cream, killer ice cream, dangerous ice cream. That was evidently manufactured in a plant that also processed tree nuts or peanuts or kiwi or chocolate or eggs. The kids were seated at the table and they were instructed by their Mimi, do not touch the girls. Stay seated at the table, enjoy your treat. Do not touch the girls. Don't go play with the girls. Don't go near the girls until you've washed your hands really well after you finish your treat, just to be safe. So a couple of points about that. First of all, look at how many people were being controlled by Christopher Watt's wife's stories about illnesses and diseases and allergies. Somebody liked to be in total control of everybody, and I think somebody liked to have a whole lot of attention, to be the one in charge. So that's one point, is just notice how many people were controlled by trying to adhere to the requirements of what foods were approved to have in the house. But here's the other point, the one that I thought, hey, wait a minute, when I was doing that video. Okay, once again, the kids were seated at the table and told to not go near the girls until they washed their hands, as a safety precaution, because they were eating killer ice cream. Well, when Christopher Watt's wife had her meltdown and all hell broke loose when she suddenly, quote, came charging down the hallway toward her mother-in-law, yelling and accusing her of attempting to murder one of the granddaughters. Are you kidding me? That in and of itself is so disgusting. Well, guess what happened when Christopher Watt's wife had her sudden meltdown? The kids who were seated at the table, a safe distance away from the severely anaphylactic and deathly allergic children to the killer ice cream, they immediately ran directly to the children without washing their hands. And all 4 children ran together, no doubt touching, to hide from Christopher Watt's wife. And do you want to know why they ran to hide? Because they were afraid of the look in her eyes. Her eyes scared them. They didn't wash their hands first. They touched the girls, no doubt. And funny thing, there weren't any serious reactions, severely anaphylactic or deathly allergic reactions to being touched by a child whose hands had also touched killer ice cream. Did Christopher Watt's wife notice that if her claims were true, that by her own actions she was placing the girls in direct danger of coming into contact with killer ice cream? Well, of course she didn't notice. And in my opinion, the reason that didn't matter to her at the point that she was yelling and screaming at her mother-in-law, accusing her mother-in-law of attempted murder, and threatening her mother-in-law that the children would never step foot in her house again. Well, she was busy with all that. I think the reason she never considered the fact that the girls were actually in close proximity to children who had just touched killer ice cream. Because in my opinion, Christopher Watt's wife knew damn well that the girls were not in any danger whatsoever. At their Mimi's house, anyway.